Alright, so I am here at the mall for the early access screening for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Many thanks to my brother for helping me to get these tickets since I don't have Prime. I've been looking forward to this movie for quite a while. A little nervous, but a lot more excited for this than, say, Doomsday. Now, of course, the last film that came out a few years back was mostly just fan service, the movie, and honestly, the original trilogy of Tom Holland's movies are films that have kind of aged poorly for me, as his Peter Parker is kind of a Mr. Whoopsie-doo. Like, all the situations he gets himself in are really just because of, like, just poor common sense. And so I'm looking forward to this work from their new director, who also directed Shang-Chi, big fan of him. The action looks solid. I'm especially excited to see the Punisher in this. Hope they don't make a gag out of him, but treat him fairly. Just looking for some great action, some great character work for Peter, like a lot more of a serious tone. Definitely, from what I've heard, this is much more a true Spider-Man grounded street-level New York movie, which is what we've been lacking in this universe for him. A few concerns I have, like I said, don't want to see them making a joke out of John Bernthal. Don't want to see him constantly trying to swear only to just get his mouth webbed, like we saw in the trailer the one time. Not sure who Sadie Sink is playing, but I do not want it to be Typhoid Mary, because she was already in the Netflix projects. So hopefully they're not gonna, just act like those don't matter. If she's Jean Grey, then great. Yeah, looking for some good action, looking for some great character work. Yeah, I'm super excited to see this one, definitely more than Doomsday. And I will let you know what I think as a Spider-Man fan and a Marvel fan and a Punisher fan when I get out. All right, so now if you're watching this is my spoiler review, just coming out of Marvel's Spider-Man Brand New Day. Don't know when the embargo is going to be lifted. I'll check with some of their critics to know if I can be posting this right after. But overall, yeah, this was the Spider-Man movie that, of all Tom Holland's, I think this one's easily my favorite. There's no gimmicks. It's not a multiverse film. There are some fun little cameos. Obviously, we know like John Bernthal was going to be in this. Bruce Banner. I don't even think it's a spoiler to say. Like, if you've seen the movie, great. If you haven't, maybe avoid if you haven't been reading up on stuff. But Florence Pugh makes a nice little couple appearances in this movie, so that I very much appreciated. It made sense given the state of things. Like, in a world this large, like there's, as one critic put it, there's a lot of cases where people are always like, why don't they just go to this person and ask them about this? Like, why can't they make this world more lived in? And when they go to her, it makes sense. She's not a huge part of the movie. She's just a nice little piece. So you got some big potatoes, some small potatoes. All those villains we saw from the trailer, these are very much just little samplers. They're not really driving the story at all. A lot of these were kind of just comic reference shots for the sake of comic reference shots. But the true story around this is involving Damage Control and Sadie Sink, who, well, we've been guessing it a long time, and it's confirmed. Jean Grey is in the MCU. The way they reveal it is just fantastic. Had the whole theater cheering. Her use in this movie is actually quite brilliant. Really works well with Tom Holland in a way where it kind of makes sense in a few regards. Sorry, people are trying to get in my view. The third act does have a certain trope I think they're starting to build up that is about, oh, you have someone losing control mentally and you have to calm them down now. But I definitely prefer that over skybeams. Skybeams is a trope that's been really getting old, so I'm glad we got something new with this. Yeah, the action's solid. Some of the visual effects are a little iffy here and there. There's, sorry, kids making noises for the sake of making noise. Really annoying. That didn't happen in the movie. Yeah, the movie itself really has some great, like, emotional gut punches just to get you, like, all along the way. Like, this is a Peter who's the effects of living in solitude are starting to affect him in new ways. And there's certain moments where you're wondering, oh, is something going to come of this? There's one particular moment with Zendaya that just absolutely, we're thinking, oh, did we finally get it? And then they pull a little twist, and I thought that was just so sadistic but so brilliant. There's some great payoffs to everything in this film. It's definitely, like I said, it is on the longer side, but it's paced pretty well. I was worried about it feeling overstuffed, and some people have said that, but it's not like, oh, there's too many villains in it. No, like I said, a lot of the villains in this are just there kind of for appearance sake, to make it feel like a larger world, and to also get people pumped who have read a lot of the comics. There's some stuff with John Bernthal where they're really diving back into his psychology a little bit. I thought they did a great job with his character, the Punisher, John Bernthal absolutely delivering. And overall, yeah, I very much enjoyed this movie. Probably going to try to see it again this weekend. I was a little shocked they didn't give us the popcorn buckets for this early screening like they have at other events. Very inconsistent, but that's beside the point. If you're in the mood for some new Spider-Man, this is going to deliver, and props to Destin, Daniel Cretton. He really knew. I definitely prefer him over John Watts directing Spider-Man because he's not cheating with the storytelling. Like, it all works. Like, there might be a couple of times where you're like, why didn't you do this? Like, if you really wanted to nitpick the tiny details. But this is a movie that overall doesn't feel like on just one simple thought, the whole thing just falls apart. This is a well-structured, well-written Spider-Man movie. So I've had some time to ponder it over a little, and I just wanted to give a few more general thoughts in my spoiler review for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, again, this is easily still my absolute favorite of the Tom Holland films. It is in my top 5, but I still don't think it's still on that level of like the first 2 Tobey Maguire films. This isn't to say like the movie's bad or anything. Just a few critiques I had. While this film definitely nails the, Peter Parker Spider-Man on his own thing, being Spider-Man, constantly saving the city, feeling like a real New York Spider-Man movie, and some of the struggles, I don't think it quite nailed everything the same way or as many things that the Tobey Maguire films nailed. In particular, so you've got someone who's constantly out there saving the city. He's got his own apartment. And I get they didn't bring J. Jonah Jameson into this. Okay. But they don't address what Peter does for work. And that is kind of a little important in this sense because this is a big struggle of Spider-Man, trying to balance regular life, being Spider-Man, and also work life and school. There's no implication if he even tried to take any courses at like a community college. We know he got his GED certification or whatever. They hinted at that at the end of No Way Home. But he's out there so much as Spider-Man, constantly buying more flowers for Aunt May's grave, just constantly out there in his apartment. he's moved up a floor, maybe at a new place, but he's got all this equipment. He's got all this gear. He's got a spider tracker on his apps. He's got a phone. And you're thinking to yourself, what is he even doing for money? Like, even if he doesn't have the best kind of apartment, what is he actually doing for money? Like the Tobey Maguire films, like in the second film, the very first thing you see is Peter getting fired from one job and then about to be fired from another job. He's behind on rent. Is having to give him money when she's fallen behind on bills. And even in the games, first thing you see right before he takes off to deal with Kingpin is final notice from his landlord, and then he gets evicted later. So I think they could have. I think they need to address some of that stuff a little bit more in this. I still love it. I absolutely love that first twist that first real sadistic gut punch when we think that kiss finally brought MJ back and she remembered everything, and then all along the way, like as you're getting into something, and wait, no, don't tell me that's really the one who we later find out to be Jean Grey pulling the strings on her, and then it is. And I thought that is just a real sick move. There are a couple other real good sadistic gut punches, like in particular when he's trying to get through to Jean mentally, and then you hear the gunshot and the Punisher's bullet accidentally hits him. Like that really threw me. And I really did love how New York came together to cheer him on, wishing him well, wishing their best, all outside. The stuff later with the Punisher, I thought it was fun. Maybe the tiniest bit silly from doing the with the mask on, just to fool everyone. Now, a lot of people have been wondering, was that kid who was like doing the web thing at Peter, was that Miles Morales? I do not think so. No, because he was already established to exist in Homecoming when they introduced the Prowler, and given how long ago that movie takes place in that timeline, even if you account for the snap, that kid's way too young. So definitely not. And if we're going to get Miles a few years from now, once the Spider-Verse movie's done and we've moved out of the multiverse saga, I don't think that would work at all. So no, that definitely wasn't him. Also, just another quick note with the people of New York being there at the hospital. I really love that everyone's there supporting Peter. You also got to wonder, though, what happened to the whole people believe Spider-Man killed Mysterio thing? Like, that still hasn't been fully addressed since the last film. The spell erased people's memory of Peter, but not the fact that Spider-Man supposedly killed Mysterio. I guess maybe they just wanted to just forget about that, like they didn't like that part of the story. But something of an him to make. Again, love Florence Pugh in this. Her moments are great. I was glad we were wondering, are we going to get Charlie Cox in it? We didn't, but it wouldn't make sense. Again, why I respect Destin Daniel Cretton, rather than, I want to have this one and this one and this one in it. And now let's write the plot around the fan service thing we want. He's kind of like the Russo brothers do. He's writing the story and then thinking, what nice little nuggets can we throw in here? So I very much appreciate that. There's probably a couple other things that'll bother me down the line. Not to bring the movie down. One thing I do think that this movie needed to kind of tackle a little better was the actual weird implications of the memory spell. So yeah, you've got people going, oh yeah, no, I still don't remember you. And I also respect that MJ's even telling them, I know we had this past, but I don't have those memories. I don't love you like you love me, which it's like, hey, if you had told me back then even, I still wouldn't have that. So I thought that was really smart, the way they tackled that. And I love the way she finally revealed, as soon as she's going down that bunker, I thought, she's reading the note, isn't she? And she was. But This is a spell that erased everyone's memories of Peter Parker. And then people are thinking, well, wait, what about all the footage confirming it? Wouldn't that just make everyone re-remember everything? So they cheated and did a whole little extra extended scene to explain, oh, his face is blurred out of photos. But then you start to wonder, wait a minute, how does he have a driver's license? How does he have a social security card? How does he have all this stuff that can allow him to rent an apartment? People can't read his name or pick up on his name in videos, but if he reintroduces himself, they register Peter Parker, but they still don't register the videos. And there's certain elements where you're thinking, wouldn't this cause kind of an existential crisis for everyone, thinking, why these videos exist, but we can't register who this person's name is? What the hell is going on? Even like Flash Thompson's book. He wrote a whole book being like how I'm best friends with Spider-Man and naming Peter Parker in it. And now there's going to be a bunch of blurs, and you think, wouldn't people be like, what the hell? Wait, why? Like Flash being like, why did I write this book? Like he would, it's almost like he'd have memories of knowing Spider-Man, but not knowing Peter. And then you'd even think, wait a minute. Ned and MJ only remember Spider-Man saving them a couple of times, but they don't remember Peter, but they also for some odd reason don't remember Aunt May, and they think, wait a minute, wouldn't the spell work like I still know I know Spider-Man, I don't know Peter Parker, but I also know Peter Parker's aunt is Aunt May, therefore shouldn't I also then be able to put the two to get and suddenly why is everyone forgetting her now? There were some, there's some stuff I don't think they're ever going to be able to fix with that. But they kind of dug themselves in that hole, so I think they need to try to figure out some way to address some of this. If they can't, oh well, that's kind of more on the people who were just rushing out that last film. But I really, really loved how at the end they had something that they realized, I know how we can close this. At the start of Homecoming, you have that iconic handshake that we see a couple of times with Ned and Peter, including when they finish building the Death Star. Then when you get to Endgame at the end, and they're reunited after the blip, they do that iconic handshake again. And I'm thinking, is that how he's going to do? And that kind of, it implicated that it broke the spell, which I really enjoyed. This movie knew how to pull at our heartstrings quite a bit, and I really appreciated that. I still think that this movie, they did a fantastic job. I just wanted to give a few more thoughts because, when you're coming out of a theater, there's only so much you can think of on the spot to talk about, but I want to give this a proper review. Obviously, I can't do this bit by bit. I need to see the movie a second time. But again, I thought they did a solid, fantastic job. It's easily in my top 5 Spider-Man films. Again, I still would like to see a little more of the struggles, like the general day-to-day struggles. And I am curious how they're going to continue this. I mean, Tom Holland has stated that when he and Zendaya have a kid, he's looking to take a break from acting. So are we going to get 1 or 2 more films with him before he passes the torch to Miles Morales? How are they going to do that? One thing I noticed with this movie, it is a Spider-Man film, but it also, because of Sadie Sink's role in this as Jean Grey, it also very much feels like a setup film for the next mutant saga coming up. There were people who posted videos about this. They kind of nailed it on the head. Not really addressing Scorpion suddenly getting his gear back, which I think they could have done in this. But they still did a really solid job. I do hope the next villain we get is Mr. Negative. I'm curious if Peter gets the symbiote during Secret Wars, if that's going to stay with him for the next film, what they're going to do after that, how they're going to close this. But again, overall, I'm really glad that we got the film we got. Solid work to everyone involved. Destin, Daniel Cretton, just heard the news about the Wonder Man getting canceled. While a lot of people are upset about that, I would prefer him focusing more on his stuff like Shang-Chi 2 And then if you want to do another Spider-Man film after this and another one after that, great. Focus more on the films over the shows. It's not that I hated Wonder Man. I would just prefer him working on this stuff. But yeah, if you haven't seen Spider-Man yet, go see Spider-Man Brand New Day. The MCU is starting to get a little better again.